I'm Brett Gavin over at Boomerang Consulting. I'm a close partner of IKC, who's conducting today's webinar on ServiceNow Gen AI, Agentic AI, their NowAssist module. Really appreciate guys and girls joining us from all over the world. And I might be the afternoon in the States for some of you. It could be the morning in New Zealand or in Australia for the rest of you. So appreciate you making the time to get together and learn a little bit more about how deploying AI agents in your ServiceNow environment can enhance your current operations. We're going to have the team from IKC. Thomas Mathers is actually going to be walking us through the few specific business cases on the benefits of deploying NowAssist for your organization and leveraging the true power of Gen AI. A little on IKC, they're actually New Zealand's longest serving ServiceNow elite partner. They've deployed hundreds of ServiceNow deployments across APAC, as well as looking to work with some key partners here in the US. They've got some fantastic customers in the likes of NEC, Hyundai, Southern Cross Health in Australia. So some really good ones there. So as we're a few minutes past, I'm gonna jump into this. I'm gonna go through just a little bit of housekeeping to begin with. There we go. So thank you again for joining. You are muted right now, just so we can obviously run through it. You can actually handle Q&A up the top. If you click the Q&A button, we'll have Josh on the side there. Josh Wallace is actually helping us just to field those questions kind of as we go through, but we'll gladly revoice some of those questions at the end of the session when Thomas is finished. This is also being recorded wholly for your viewing pleasure. A little later, we'll have it up on YouTube. We'll also share the link with you via email. But if you do have any questions, pop it in that Q&A section and we'll get to it either in the middle of the presentation or we'll get to it towards the end with Tom and Josh. So without any further ado, I'm going to, speaking of your presenters, so we've got Thomas Mathers and Josh, and we can field your questions a little later. So with that, I might hand over to Tom to take us into ServiceNow NowAssist Agentic AI. Thanks.
Thanks for that, Brett. Everyone, good to see you all. Oh, sorry, Brett, can you mute your... Yep, thank you. Yep, so thanks for that, Brett. Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. Again, my name is Tom. I'm one of the ServiceNow architects at IKC. And yeah, I'll be driving today's discussion around some of the AI functionality in ServiceNow. Focus of today will mainly be around the NowAssist Gen AI, briefly cover some Agentic AI, and this will mainly be in the ITSM module. As mentioned, Brett said that I've got a few scenarios prepared. I've got some use cases to go through those scenarios. This is all going to be live demo, nothing's pre-recorded. Before I jump into those scenarios, though, I just want to go over some basic terminology so we're all on the same page. I'll start with the NowAssist. So NowAssist is ServiceNow's platform-built AI assistant, and it can act as a conversational tool for users to interact with the system. So think of it like a chatbot. It allows users to interact with the system using natural language. They can ask questions. NowAssist will provide answers, and the conversation flows very natural through generative AI. Next is the knowledge base, which is a collection of what we call knowledge articles. And these are just documents that are related to the business in some form or other, things like policies or procedures, how-to guides. So when I talk about the knowledge base or knowledge articles, just think about documentation that's relevant to the business. Integrations, we've got some integrations set up with SharePoint. We've talked to a lot of customers specifically in New Zealand, and turns out that a lot of company data or company documents is in SharePoint. So we thought this would be something really useful to show off. And it falls under what's called the external content module in the AI package. This just comes with the AI functionality in ServiceNow, but it allows you to connect up your SharePoint account to your ServiceNow account. So any documentation that you have access to in SharePoint, then your ServiceNow account would also have access to that documentation. And then NowAssist would be able to comb through all of the SharePoint documentation and provide you information directly from it. Next is the Service Operations Workspace. This is the main interface for the service desk agents. And it's built on what we call a workspace in ServiceNow. And the workspaces are just one-stop shops. It's a view that's pinned on everything that a certain team would find useful. So in Service Operations Workspace, in this case, it's to do with the service desk agents. And it's all about raising incidents, fulfilling incidents and fulfilling requests. And next is finally is the AI agents. And an AI agent is basically an autonomous entity that can take in information, and then based on that information, it can start making its own decisions and act accordingly. And the cool thing about AI agents is that they don't require any human input. As long as we give an AI agent a goal in ServiceNow, and as long as we give them access to the tools to achieve that goal, tools can be things like access to an API or access to a workflow that already exists, maybe a script, then they can use those tools to complete that goal. Who this impacts, this slide just represents the users that I'm going to be impersonating throughout the scenarios. These are kind of the most impacted users in these scenarios. The end user, this is just going to be myself, but it's mainly represents the user that comes in through front-facing portal. These are people that are going to be raising requests or raising incidents or maybe looking for company data through the front-facing portal. And then there's the service desk agent who will be in the back end. They'll be working on that service operations workspace to resolve incidents and resolve requests that are raised. From now on, I will be just going through demonstrations. And the way that this is going to work is for each use case, I'll start by introducing a problem that we're trying to solve, and then provide an overview of the scenario that solves that problem. And then I'll go into a live demonstration of how that works. So there will be a bit of screen switching, so please bear with me on that. But our first use case is around this inefficient use of service agents' time. And to start this problem, I want to start from the end user's perspective. And the end user will come into the system, and sometimes they're looking for maybe documentation on policies or how to request something. And the end user quickly becomes frustrated because maybe they can't find where this documentation exists, even though it might actually exist somewhere in the system. It's just hard to find. So instead of looking, what they tend to do is just go call up the service desk, ask questions. They might raise an incident. They might just request something with not great information in it. And this just ends up being a burden on the service desk's time, because they just end up having to answer repetitive questions or take requests that just don't really have the right information in them. And then they end up having to go back to the user anyway and ask questions again. And there's better uses for the service desk's time. So this scenario, it uses an example of an end-to-end laptop request. And I'm going to show off how NowAssist AI search and AI agents can help streamline the information gathering process that makes the request submission smoother for the end user. The goal is to have the end user's questions answered without actually involving the service desk at all. So we're just trying to make information easier to find and consume for the end user. I'm going to switch over my screen. I'm sharing my screen now. This is the Employee Service Center. This is a front-facing portal, and this is where requesters would come in. They would be maybe requesting things, maybe raising an incident, finding company policy. Currently, I'm impersonating a front-end user, and I'm just impersonating myself at the moment. I work in the IT department. I also want to note down here, there's the NowAssist chat icon. I can open up this now, but in my scenario, I want to find out what's available for laptops. So I think the first thing that most people would do would type in laptops in the search bar here. And you can see here, the NowAssist AI search is working. If I scroll down here, you'll be able to see that it's searched through relevant articles to laptops. And then also it's picked up some SharePoint documentation here. I've created two documents. I've created an IT request policy document and a HR device request policy document. And it's basically just saying what's available for the IT department and then what devices are available for the HR department. And if I scroll up here, you can see that NowAssist it's groomed through all of the data that it could find. It's groomed through all of my knowledge articles, and it's groomed through all of my SharePoint documentation. And it's pulled out information to say that these three devices are available for the IT department. And I can check the source for that by clicking on here. You can see here that it's pulled information from the IT device request policy document. And then I think it's also found some information on computer warranty coverage. This is just a knowledge article. But it's also pulled out information on how to order a laptop. It's given information on the delivery process for that laptop. And it's compiled that into a couple paragraphs as well. This is generative AI. What's also interesting is that the devices that it's pulled out are only relevant to the IT department. So it's actually ignored the stuff in the HR document, even though I have access to it. But NowAssist has knowledge that I'm in the IT department, and it's groomed that data for me. I'm going to click Ask a Follow-up Question, and this is going to open the NowAssist panel. I'll make this a bit bigger. But it's just copied in the information that so it's copied in the laptops that I've searched, and it's copied the information that it's provided. And I'm going to ask a follow-up question here. And I'm going to ask it to tell me more about the Dell Latitude. And the Dell Latitude was one of the devices that I was allowed to request as an IT department member. And you can see here that it's actually taken more information from the SharePoint document, and it's given me more information on this Dell Latitude. And then it's also taken information around the warranty as well. And I believe this is from that warranty documentation. Sorry, knowledge article. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to kick off an AI agent. And the AI agent, its goal is to help the user request the laptop. And it's going to take the context of what I've already talked about and input that into how it processes its workflow. So here it's recognized me as a member of the IT department, and it knows that these are the three devices that are available to me. In this example, I'm going to request the Dell Latitude. And then it's asking for a physical address for where it needs the laptop to be sent to. Cool. And while that's loading, I just want to show the actual form. So this is the actual form for ordering a laptop. It's pretty simple, but I do want to note that the models that are available include all of the models from the IT documentation and the HR documentation. So what's happened is the NowAssist has singled out that the IT department laptops are the only ones that I can request, and it's only giving me those options to request from. If I go back to my NowAssist panel, I can click yes. This is just confirming that everything looks good. And I will submit this request. And then from the NowAssist chat window here, it's going to give me the request number, and I can open this up. You can see in additional details, it's captured all of that information. I'm going to switch my screen back to the presentation. I just want to summarize this scenario before we move on, but essentially we use NowAssist's capability to provide guidance to a user. And this was specifically around the laptop request. The user could ask basic questions. NowAssist could provide answers based on documentation. And it could even comb out things like this user was in the IT department, so only the IT department's devices are relevant. And then again, the end goal is just to reduce the questions that are going to IT support groups so that they can focus on more important things. Cool. From now on, I'll be shifting away from end user, and I will be focusing on the service desk agents. And the second user case is focused around resolving incidents, and this will all be done in the service operations workspace, which again is the UI for the service desk. The problem that we're going to be solving with this use case is to try and speed up the resolution time of incidents. Essentially, the longer that an incident it remains open, the higher the cost is to the business. This could be due to things like human error or bad data. These all contribute to incidents being open for longer. So we want to provide the service desk with as many options or tools as possible to help resolve incidents quicker. In this case, I want to show how AI agents and NowAssist can help real desk agents resolve incidents quicker and more accurately. In this example, I'll demonstrate an autonomous AI agent. Its task is to pick up incidents that have been sent via email and get them ready for human end users, so real service desk users. And this is all done. I've specifically designed it to only pick up incidents that have been sent through via email, and it'll take the description of that email and it'll start to assign fields on the incident and categorize it. So it'll assign the category field of that incident, the subcategory field, even the assignment group. So it's going to route it to the right place and start making assumptions on how that ticket should, how the data in that ticket should be populated. I purposely told it not to assign the service and service offering fields. I've talked to a lot of customers. Sometimes they have trouble with populating those fields, but I did want to demonstrate how we can actually call AI agents on demand to help us with certain things as well. So I'm going to show a AI agent that I created that we can just call, and it's going to help the end user populate the service and service offering field. Finally, I'll show off some of the inbuilt NowAssist functionalities. These are functionalities like the suggested knowledge articles, recommended actions. This is all within the service operations workspace. Okay, so I am now sharing my screen. This is the service operations workspace. This is the service desk's UI. This is where they would resolve incidents, resolve tasks. What I've actually done is I've created a list here, incidents that are created today, and I've sent through a couple of Teams issues. And these Teams issues were picked up by an AI agent. These were sent through email. They were picked up by an AI agent. If I just open one. Let's have a look at that email. Okay, so this is the email that I've sent. It's received from my email address. It's just a Teams issue. Can you please look into it? You can see here that Agentic AI has picked up this incident and it started to populate some of the fields. And if I go into details of this incident and I scroll down, it's gone ahead and it's populated the category, the subcategory, and the assignment group of this ticket. And this is shown in the activity here. I'm going to assign this ticket to David. But you'll notice here that the service and service offering fields are still empty. So I can actually open up the NowAssist panel. This is similar to the NowAssist panel in the front end. Start a new chat. And I'm going to ask NowAssist to help me set the service of this incident. And straight away, it's going to kick off the AI agent that I created, which is going to help this user pick a service. And it gives me 3 options here. And I wanted to also demonstrate how Agentic AI can work with real users as well. But I actually have the option here to pick the most relevant service that I think. So it's narrowed down the choices for me. And in this case, I'm going to pick Microsoft Teams. And the way I've designed this agent is that when I put in the service, then it'll make an assumption on the best service offering. And if you're familiar with ServiceNow CMDB structure, the service offering record is a child of the service. And here it's just saying that the service that I've picked was Microsoft Teams, and the service offering that it recommends is messaging and chat. And I just need to confirm that that's okay. I'll click yes. And that's going to update those fields for me. Cool. I just want to move on to now some of the inbuilt NowAssist functionality. So now that I've got this incident populated with the right fields, I want to start resolving this incident. And the first thing that I can do is I can click on the suggested steps by NowAssist here and click generate. And what this is going to do is it's going to look through all of the existing incidents that have been completed and all of the knowledge articles in the system that are related around Microsoft Teams issues. And it's going to present the user with steps on how it believes that this incident should be resolved. And this is a really good first step for David. And yeah, it's a good first place to go to. Next is the NowAssist Q&A. And again, this would groom through all of the resolved incidents in ServiceNow, and it tries to make an assumption of the background around this incident. And it's picked up that this is probably a new update that's broken, and that's what is affecting Microsoft Teams. And then it's even giving steps on reinstalling Microsoft Teams as well. If I scroll down here, we can see these are like the quick actions that NowAssist provides, and it's started to group up all of these Teams issues. You can see that these incidents here, I can make them as parents. It's probably recognized that I've created a lot of Teams issues. It's probably recognized that they're the same issue. So I can link them all together. I've got copy resolution notes here. So this is an incident that I completed earlier in a separate demo. But if I open up that incident, you can see here that this one's got resolution notes. So in this case, David could look at this incident that's already been resolved, look at the resolution notes, try what's in the resolution notes, and then simply copy the resolution notes from the already resolved incident into my current incident. And I'm actually just going to go ahead and do that. So I click copy, and it's actually just copied the resolution code and resolution notes directly from that already resolved incident. And this is going to improve the resolution notes quality as well. A lot of people just put things like NA and, they just want to complete this as quickly as possible, but we want to encourage people to put useful resolution notes so that we can use them in the future as well. I'm going to save this incident. I've now resolved it. And I'm going to move back to my PowerPoint. To conclude this scenario, we showed off how an AI agent can pick up incidents. They can start auto-categorizing them. This was done solely on the description of the email. And then we showed off some of the tools that the Service Operations Workspace provides that helped our user, David, resolve the incident quicker. Our last scenario is focused on generating knowledge articles with the help of AI. And here's our problem. Unfortunately, the biggest problem with knowledge articles is that no one wants to create them. It's a pretty manual process of having to write up an article. Just no one really likes to do it. And the lack of knowledge articles really hinders the ability of self-service and knowledge sharing capabilities in a system. In this scenario, I want to showcase how we can use NowAssist to help generate knowledge articles. We'll go through NowAssist generating an article straight from an incident, the incident that we just resolved, and then we'll see that how it can actually look at other incidents that have been resolved that are in a similar category. There will be Teams incidents, and it can actually compile a lot of the information from those incidents and then generate one knowledge article. So it's going to look at the resolution notes from all of those incidents, compile it up into one, and allow the user to publish that. And then once they publish it, it'll just go through the normal approval process. Okay, so I'm back on my Service Operations Workspace, and this is the incident that I resolved. And let's say that I want to create a knowledge article from this incident. I can click on the down arrow here and click Create Knowledge. Here I can pick the knowledge base that I want to put the knowledge article in. I'll just choose knowledge error, and I can choose an article template as well. For those of you that don't know what an article template is, it's basically just the layout of a knowledge article. And when I click create the article, I'm going to get a pop-up here, and it's asking me if I want to use AI to draft this article. I'll say yes. And here I can pick different incidents that I want to combine into this knowledge article. So these are all Teams errors. They're quite similar, but I can pick two of them. Continue with selected tasks. It's going to take the information from all of those incidents and then compile it into one knowledge article. Cool. So it's actually put it into this layout of problem, root cause, steps to resolve. That was the template that I selected. And it started compiling that information. I can actually do things like highlight this and click on this icon here to use NowAssist to help me draft this. And I can choose things like elaborate and shorten. It kind of just gives more context on, I don't know, it expands the root cause, for example. And with anything that's generated by AI, you need to format it. But this could be a really good starting point for creating knowledge articles. I could save this, I could send it in for review. And yeah, to save it, I'll just click save. And then I go through the normal publish approval process. And something that I did want to show off, I actually forgot to show this off. But if I go back to the incident here and I click on more and I click on email. So this was the incident that I resolved. And imagine that I've resolved this incident and I want to send an email to the person who raised this incident around how to resolve this. And I can actually do things like I'll type reinstall Teams. And if I click on the NowAssist icon here to generate this message, I can actually flesh this out straight from the UI. And it's going to compile information from the incident and write an email for me. So I'll elaborate that further. Actually, let's do this better. Watch this. I want steps to reinstall Teams. And it's just going to turn them into steps for me. And I can click replace, and it goes directly in there. Cool. So just to conclude this one, we demonstrated how NowAssist streamlined that process of creating a knowledge article. And then I went back to the incident and I generated an email as well using NowAssist. But I just want to highlight that for the knowledge article creation, this was all done automatically. It was able to compile information from different incidents, put it into one, and then create a good starting point for knowledge creation. And then after that knowledge is created, it just goes through the standard approval process. This concludes my demonstrations. I'm going to pass it over to Brett again, and he'll wrap us up.
Cool. Thanks very much, Tom. I think that was very informative. Obviously, walking through the different use cases of leveraging AI agents in NowAssist with ServiceNow. Obviously, guys, the Q&A button is right at the top. If you have any questions that you'd like Josh and or Tom to field. Again, this session will be available to review again if you feel like you missed anything or if you had to jump up and grab a glass of water. There will be a short survey sent out just to gauge your opinions and whatnot as to what you loved, what maybe you'd like to see differently next time. And of course, if this is something that really appeals to you and your business and you'd like to engage myself to help coordinate with the IKC team to explore what's possible for your organization, I'd highly recommend it. Personally, I've had a little bit of a dabble in the sandbox environment with ServiceNow, and I see many use cases as to this to streamline a lot of those incident reporting and incident reconciliation with your current ITSM ServiceNow environment. So if there's a couple of we've got a couple of questions. I'm not sure if Josh is able to speak to one of the questions in the channel. I'll go quiet.
Yeah, so I'm just reading it now, and Tom, feel free to also chip in. But so the question is, if there's no knowledge relating to the specific issues, how can we get the support from agents? Not sure I quite understand this, and if you can reword it, but I imagine what this question is getting at is if there's no knowledge, what would happen with the AI? So what we can do is the AI can be linked to external sources of information, including the web. So it can search out there to find answers if we configure it to do so. So that is, I believe that's what the question is getting at, but feel free to reword that. And then another question is the accuracy of this knowledge. Does the agent add knowledge sources? So the agent does not add the knowledge sources. However, that's the job of the administrator. So when we were setting up this demo, right, we configure what the LLM can, or in this case, the NowAssist, what it can look at and what it can get for us in terms of the knowledge. So we told it, for example, hey, you can look at SharePoint. You can also look at the knowledge bases that we have in ServiceNow to get the information. The agent themselves does not say where the information can be gotten from. That's all set up by the administrator during the whole NowAssist setup. And then what is the biggest challenge when IKC does this project? Tom, do you have any ideas on this one?
It's probably the data quality, because, yeah, for instance, if I go back to things like copying resolution notes, that's only good if the resolution notes from previous incidents are of good quality. So we would need to, if they haven't been instilled already, we would need to instill better data quality practices, ensuring that people are inputting good resolution notes to start with so we can build the foundation of NowAssist. And also to add on to Josh, to use the NowAssist functionality in the workspace, you actually need a starting point of, I think it was like 5,000 incidents at least. But yeah, just something to note. So it does need some kind of base to build off of.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, that reiterates of mostly what I've seen, where a lot of customers do struggle with if they don't have a strong data foundation of accurate data, then what we find is that sometimes AI can come to incorrect conclusions. and that requires additional configuration around that. So yeah, that can be one thing that can be underappreciated. The fact that AI cannot fix bad data. We need to make sure that we feed it the right stuff. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. I see there's one more comment. Yep. Thanks, Yongsu.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Tom. I think if we haven't seen any more questions come through, maybe they'll be spurred after the fact. I have another view of the video on YouTube, and we can re-engage with the IKC team to, as I said, to have a look into your environment and see what's possible. So I think with that, Tom, if you had anything else, otherwise,
Nothing from me.
wonderful. I really appreciate your time and expertise in conveying this, and hopefully those of you who were able to catch it on the receiving end learn a little bit and would like to learn even more about what's possible. So thanks and have a great day, and look forward to seeing you again next time. Thanks.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.